Good evening. Today, a plea to let go. To let go on command, to let go on control. And a call to connect and collaborate. We are moving from an industrial society to a network society. And so it's my firm belief that we need fresh ideas and leaders. I grew up in the early 80s. I grew up in a time with no nukes, no future, and black leather jackets. I'm from the lost generation. And I know that predicting the future is difficult, especially when it concerns the future. But in predicting the future of my generation, people were very accurate. We're lost. Let me explain. As a generation, we are not very active in politics. We also possess very few decision-making positions in society, in economy. And as a generation, we fail to do something very natural and very obvious, kicking out the older generations. The first baby boomers are around 70 years old now, and it's only now that they are considering of leaving the stage. Only now. But they still have the capital, the power, and even have vital minds. And I, and my generation, what do? We live according to their dreams. We live their paradigms, with our houses and everything. And it is therefore that I believe that our generation is not the generation that should lead the transformation into a digital future. It would be a setback while we need to leapfrog something. So this is a call to my lost fellows to let go on this, leave those paradigms behind, leave those dreams behind, and show some solidarity to the younger generations. And not by command and control, but by doing exactly what we should do as lost generations. Set them aside. Don't be behind the wheel. Be in the car, but not behind the wheel. And if we do this, we can change a number of paradigms. And so, what are we doing? We are facing something else, which is a... Next slide, please. We are facing a rapidly changing world. And all these changes, most of these changes, are technology-driven. And we live in a transformational time. The previous speakers also talked about it. And everybody feels that. And especially all these technology changes, we cannot really cope with them. And our economic order is based on paradigms like work and services and education, and they will change fundamentally. And what I do not want to do is leave this to some very smart nerds in Silicon Valley. I think we should do something else. So what's going on? I think we are witnessing 3 combined megatrends at the moment. And the first one is radical transparency. We know everything about everything else and everybody else. The government and companies know everything about us. And companies know everything about their competitors. So for a company, for example, is competing the smartest thing to do? I don't know. I think that companies especially should find new ways, new value chains, and probably should find a way to co-create. The second megatrend is a radical decentralization. And everybody feels it. If you look at energy, decentralized energy production. If you look at health, e-health with all kinds of wearables. If you look at our work as such, the way we work. If you look at manufacturing with 3D printing, decentralized. All these things are there. And what in the past, you had only one technology that changed our society. Think of the steam machine, electricity, or the computer. Now it's different. It's a combined thing. These megatrends are combined, and everybody feels them. And nobody feels that there is really control about them. And there is no policy on megatrends. Megatrends are typically something that happen, and the impact are bigger and sometimes faster than we anticipate. And there's something more. Because of these changes are predominantly technological driven, there's a growing mental gap between what is possible and how we go around with this. And we live in a completely networked world, and our mind is lagging behind. And this is different for younger generations. And every technological innovation has dark sides and bright sides. Think of dark sides like disruptive business models, privacy issues, policy, social, moral dilemmas that come around. And if you look at all these things, then I think it will be touched upon, yeah, what exactly? All these changes will drive us to new and unknown territories. And if you go back 200 years ago, next slide please. If you go back 200 years ago, then in the age of reason, the age of Enlightenment, where that coincided with a scientific revolution as well. If you look at this, where Voltaire wanted basically no God to interfere in life. And humans should do all kinds of things, and the human race should be liberated. But again, faith in humankind is probably limited. And if Voltaire would be there now, and he would look at the same situation, and if you project everything what we see, next slide please, everything we see with the Enlightenment, where man was liberated from its dogmatic state of ignorance, or was educated to use reason. Well, projected to this age, you can replace man by machine. It's the machine that will be liberated from the dogmatic state of ignorance. And if this holds any truth, where does it leave us? Where does it leave us as mankind? And I don't know. Because machines will get smarter. There's no need for humankind to get smarter. We risk to get dumber. And in the end, the machine may decide that mankind is no longer needed. So, where are we now? At this moment in time, we have behind us about 20 years of internet. It changed our lives tremendously. And you can distinguish three phases. The first phase was about information. In the early 90s, suddenly this sparked a revolution of participation in the world of bits, you may say. Everybody could write a blog, create a website, share information, and do things. And the level of digitization in this part of our economy grew from about 40–50% to 95%. And the same counts for the second phase of internet, which is social, where we first could find information. In the second phase, we could find each other. And also there, the level of digitization at this moment in time grew high. But altogether, these two phases only are about 15% of our economy. 85% of our economy is yet to be transformed by the digital revolution. 85%. And what is happening? And this third phase is about the digitization of our physical environment. And what are the drivers? The drivers are known. The drivers are robotics, 3D printing, quantified self, wearables in all kinds, Internet of Things, singularity, etc., etc. But if you connect the dots, and if you really observe what is happening, then it simply means more bits in atoms. More bits in atoms. And we ain't seen nothing yet. The past 20 years was only a small step in the digital change, is my belief. And the next phase is bigger and goes faster. And it will lead us again to unknown and new territories. So we have to get to terms with the machine side of life. And that will be a difficult one. So where does it leave us? Where does it leave me? And where does it leave you?
Gone some places, no going back. Highway patrol choppers coming up over the ridge. Hot soup on a campfire under the bridge. Shelter line stretching round the corner. Welcome to the new world order. Families sleeping in their cars in the Southwest. No home, no job, no peace, no rest. Well, the highway is alive at night, but nobody's kidding nobody about where it goes. I'm sitting down here in the campfire line, searching for the ghost of Tom Jones.
The highway is alive tonight, and nobody's kidding as to where it goes. This Springsteen song is about 20 years old. He sang about the economy and the impact of the economy in people's lives. And I think this is exactly what we should do now. Because all these technological changes have these dark sides, and we tend to accept these dark sides as a given fact. But I think we can do better. If you look at the situation, what is happening, cyberspace leads to a new digital proletariat. You've heard things before, and what should we do with these kind of things? Because this new digital proletariat is also a cause because because all these technological changes, we will be liberated from work. And our economies are based on work. So in my view, we have something to do, and it's a socio-economic task. And I think we have about 10, 15 years left to get to a new deal in society. No more. So again, we have to get to terms with this machine side of life, and we have no clue where to start. We may start with something like what Federico said, like guaranteed basic income. But I think this is only the start of an answer. Because who wants to live in a society with digital proletariat or large groups that cannot contribute to society in a meaningful way? Well, I don't. And I'm not standing here as some kind of happy camper that predicts only the beauty of technology, nor I'm standing here as a guy that starts a race against the machine. But I believe that the machine of our society is changing. And it's changing very fast. So if we really want to do something, we need to face the new realities very quickly. For my children, I was thinking, for my children, I would probably advise them to do something else, to study Voltaire, or machine law for that matter. But do something what sets mankind apart. And what can you do? Because my generation suddenly can do something, finally can make a difference, I hope. But it's not only about me or my generation, it's also about you. You should become active as well. And how? Well, I don't know. Because I don't know how to solve all the things. I don't know how to shape your future. And you probably say, leave me alone. but I ain't no good in leaving you alone. Because although we do not know what to do exactly, we should do one thing. At first, you gotta get mad. Thank you.